Jamie Ratcliffe's favorite place in the world was Lake Michigan. He would spend some memorable summers out there in a cottage with his family, enjoying its picturesque beauty and tranquil surroundings, until one day, while swimming in the reasonably pleasant waters, he noticed that the waves were getting bigger and bigger. He wanted to swim and get back to shore, but found himself moonwalking backwards. The tide was taking him away. He figured that he couldn't swim against the current, so wanted to move along with it and hopefully divert away from its line of movement. But the waves kept getting heavier and heavier, crashing and tossing his body to and fro. He tried to scream for help, but couldn't get his head above the water. He was running out of breath, and everything went dark. He then heard voices and asked if he was dead. He soon realized that he had been rescued by two people who had rushed out in a kayak and carried him to shore. Jamie was one of the lucky ones and now devotes his life to spreading awareness on just how dangerous and deadly America's lakes are through the Great Lakes Water Safety Consortium. Welcome to Intrigued Mind, where we'll explore just how dangerous and deadly the lakes of America can be. We'll begin with Lake Michigan in the Midwest, as it perfectly demonstrates just how deceptively peaceful lakes can be. Over 50 people died in Lake Michigan in the year 2020 alone, and is by far the most dangerous of the USA's Great Lakes. Most deaths have been attributed to swimming, but others occur via boat accident, and in one instance, someone was simply walking along the pier towards a lighthouse and was swept off by waves. The Great Lakes Surf Rescue Project attributes the number of deaths to the highly populated areas around the lake, combined with its deadly and sometimes deceptively calm waters, as we saw mentioned earlier. Dave Benjamin, executive director of the Great Lakes Surf Rescue Consortium, explained, "When you look at the Great Lakes and those piers, there can be currents around them, even when there is no wave action. Most people think of rip currents, but there can be different kinds of currents. Rip currents are where you are pulled out towards sea, but there are also longshore currents, where you are pulled in a parallel direction to the beach, and structural currents, where an object like a pier forces a current in a different direction." Benjamin said that these currents can outmaneuver strong swimmers, and the lakes are full of overconfident swimmers, underestimating the danger of these currents. People say they know how to swim or have swimming lessons, but just because I know how to run doesn't mean I can run a marathon, he said. Swimming is an endurance exercise. Most people I see at the beach are waders, not swimmers. They go knee-deep, maybe throw a frisbee or a football, but they're not swimming. Knowing how to swim doesn't mean you can't drown. Lake of the Ozarks is another dangerous lake in the Midwest, but for different reasons. The lake is man-made, and its problems boil down to human activity more so than any forces of nature. Summer weekends attract a lot of visitors, and many people use rental boats, which results in a number of inexperienced boaters traveling at high speeds, which inevitably results in accidents. The lake has no set speed limits either, and a number of boaters choose to drive under the influence of alcohol, sometimes at night too. All of these ingredients are simply a recipe for disaster. The summer of 2019 saw 6 fatalities and 38 injuries, with authorities reporting that this was no different than any other year. Stacy Mosher of the Missouri State Highway Patrol said, "When you're right in the middle of the summertime, it just feels like it's one right after another." Moving away from the Midwest, Lake Lanier is arguably the most dangerous lake in the South, and has had so much mystery surrounding its deaths that some believe it to be haunted. The Stoddard firm, a law firm specializing in serious accidents, found in 2017 that Lake Lanier was only 7% more popular than Georgia's second most popular lake, but twice as deadly in terms of number of deaths. Since its formation, over 500 people have died there, with nearly 200 deaths occurring since 1994. While many believe that there are perfectly normal reasons why the lake is so dangerous, some locals attribute its danger to the controversy of its construction. The man-made lake resulted in the displacement of a number of native communities in the North Georgia area, as well as cemeteries, which is believed to have put a curse upon the entire area. The more boring explanation is that the lake was designed to supply water and hydroelectric power to Atlanta and is not meant for recreational use, which is why there have been so many accidents. For a deeper dive into the mystery surrounding this lake, check out one of our earlier videos about the lake, which is linked in the description. Another dangerous lake in the South is Jacob's Well in Texas, which is a popular spot for scuba divers and adrenaline junkies, known for its maze of beautiful underwater caves. The well is the second largest fully submerged cave in Texas, and the deepest part of its cavern system is 140 feet deep. At least 8 or 9 people have died in this lake, and the area suffered a great tragedy in September 1979. A group of friends arrived from California and decided to engage in some nighttime scuba diving. Two divers decided to swim in the deepest area of the well, which is so narrow that it requires you to remove your own oxygen tank. These divers also did not have any lighting or safety lines, so they simply went missing in the deepest areas of the lake. 3 weeks of searching ensued, but to no avail. A sign has been installed near the part where they went down to warn scuba divers just how treacherous this lake can be. Outside Magazine went through the numbers, and you have a 1 in 300,000 chance of dying if you visit Lake Mead, making it the most dangerous national recreation area in the USA. There have been 254 deaths since its inception in the 1960s, while attracting 7.2 million visitors every year. Located between Nevada and Arizona, Lake Mead is a reservoir formed by the Hoover Dam on the Colorado River in the southwest. Much like Lake Lanier, it was not built for recreational purposes and therefore creates a risky environment for swimmers and boating enthusiasts. One of the key factors is its windy conditions, which can lead to waves reaching 8 to 10 feet high. Park spokeswoman Christy Vanover said, "When those waves start crashing over you and tossing you from one way to another, it makes it a lot harder to swim." Another strange phenomenon is cold pockets in the water, which can cause your muscles to cramp up and prevent you from swimming. While some lakes present dangers for swimmers, there are some lakes in the US that are simply too polluted for humans to even dip their toes into. It might come as no surprise to you that one of the most heavily polluted lakes in the country is in New York, known as Onondaga Lake. For decades, untreated waste was dumped into the lake, and by 1940, swimming in the lake was banned for safety reasons. By 1970, even fishing was banned, with the implication that even eating the fish from the lake would be harmful to humans. This is due to the waters being full of raw sewage and toxic waste, dumped mostly by the Allied Chemical Company. In recent years, major cleanups have been undertaken, but it is estimated that it would cost $2.16 billion to fully restore the lake. Turning to the west coast, Horseshoe Lake in California is also an uninhabitable lake, but not because of human interference. The lake has an abnormally high level of concentrated carbon dioxide and hydrogen sulfide, which is incredibly dangerous to humans. According to the U.S. Department of Agriculture, scientists discovered naturally occurring CO2 in the lake in 1994. The abundance of CO2 is due to a cooling magma chamber below, which emits the gas. These unusually high levels of CO2 and hydrogen sulfide are responsible for killing approximately 120 acres of trees in its surrounding areas. One observer told a researcher at Stanford University, "The surrounding areas are like a tree graveyard. As for the lake, you can't swim in it anymore. There are caution and danger signs. You can't dig around the sand. They don't even want you to sit around at the beach. The only thing you're allowed to do now is walk in the surrounding areas." Even walking in the surrounding areas is dangerous. In 1998, the gases killed a healthy 58-year-old hiker, and in 2006, they took out 3 ski patrollers. For more videos on the most amazing, interesting topics and forgotten parts of our history, be sure to subscribe to the Intrigued Mind channel, like the video, and leave your suggestions in the comments below. Do let us know if you have visited any of the lakes we have mentioned, or think there are even more dangerous lakes in the US that we should know about.